You are losing potential clients every single day because your lead magnet is generic. Sending the same boring PDF to every single lead that signs up simply isn't going to cut it anymore, especially within the fitness industry where these one-size-fits-all plans, they just don't help anyone. If you think about it, that 18 to 20-year-old newcomer to the gym needs a completely different plan to the 35-year-old seasoned lifter who's already been training for 15 years. But most online coaches and gym owners are sending out the same generic 7-day training plans to these different types of people with no context, no personalization, and it's just not going to get them results. But here's the game changer. AI can now customize lead magnets tailored to each person that signs up without you having to do anything manually. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can set up this AI system within your own fitness business. So you can deliver more value, help more people out, convert more of the leads that you generate whilst working less. And if you're watching this video and you want this system but you can't be bothered to set it up yourself, look at the links in the description and we can set this up for you. Okay, so here we are in make.com. If you don't know what make.com is, this is simply a no-code AI automation system where you can build out workflows like this that basically allow you to automate any task, but you can integrate hundreds of different tools. You can see a few here. There's honestly hundreds of different options. You can get very creative with this. You can pretty much automate anything at this point, outside of a couple of things. But this is one of the examples. Hopefully this gets your cogs turning on not just how you can use this to personalize lead magnets, but you can also start to automate other areas of your business so you can save yourself time and money, but also deliver a better service. So hopefully you can see here, this might look a little bit intimidating if you've never been on make.com before, but this is actually quite a simple flow. And once you start to understand how the software works, you'll realize that, you know, this is only the start. It can get very, very complex. You can have hundreds of different modules within your flows. So this is actually quite simple. So I'll run you through what this looks like on the customer side. So what is actually the customer going to experience when they get their personalized lead magnet? Then I'll go through this flow and show you what actually goes into allowing this to work. So we start off here with this module called Tally. Okay, Tally is simply just a form website. Okay, you can create forms on here similar to Google Forms, Typeform. All of these softwares will work. You can integrate both of those. So you don't have to use Tally. That's just what I've used. So here we are in Tally. This is how I've created the form. This is also free. So you don't need to pay. You don't even need to give your card. You can just make a free account. You can set up your form. And then here is the link. So this is the share link that you will get when you create a form. And creating a form is really, really simple. And there's instructions on how to do this on Tally, but most platforms, it's very, very simple stuff. So you'll be able to make this fine. The only thing that you'll need to think about really is what questions do you want to ask? But I'll run through the questions that we asked and why we did it just now. But this is what you will need to use so you can share this link to people. So use this in your ads, give it to people through your social media, put it in your bio, wherever you want to place it. This is how people will access the form. So here we are. This is it. And as you can see, it looks very clean. This is why I chose Tally. Very, very clean looking, aesthetically just looks very nice. So we're doing a 14-day personalized training plan. That's what we're creating here. And we're simply asking them a couple of questions so that they can receive their free custom training plan. So there's going to be specific to each individual person that signs up. So you can see all of my tests here. So what's my first name? Paddy. What are my fitness goals? So we have fat loss, muscle building, body recomposition. Okay, so you can pick whatever you want. You can have 7 different options. You could have 2 options. You know, you can get as creative as you want with this. So, but this is going to drastically impact the type of plan that I receive on the back end. So let's say fat loss is my goal. Do I have access to a gym? Let's say yes. Now, obviously, if we have access to a gym, it will give us recommendations and exercises using gym equipment. If we say no, then it's going to focus on more body weight stuff. And if you have simple equipment at home, some dumbbells, some bands, then maybe it will include exercises like that. But this is the beauty of it, is it tailors the approach specifically to each individual person. How many times a week could we train? So there is options here. Let's say 3 to 4. How much time do we have for each session? So we can make sure that these people can actually fit in these sessions. For me, we'll say 30 to 45 minutes. What is your current fitness level? We'll say beginner, so it's perhaps going to give us some more beginner-friendly movements, lower intensity, and then we just need to obviously provide an email. So I'm going to use my work email, and this is how we're actually going to send the plan off. So before I do that, I need to go over to make.com, and I actually need to just click run once and wait for new data. Okay, so now it's sat there, it's ready to go, and it's waiting for a new submission. I will then click submit. There we go. Everything's sent. Now, if we go back to here, we can see it's all working. So at this point, we're now onto the ChatGPT module. It's creating the plan. It's created the plan. And now it's going over to Gmail and it is sent. So let's go and check that out. Okay, so here we are in my inbox and we can obviously see that the plan has arrived. So let's see what it says. So here we are. So we've got a short little email here that basically says, thanks for filling out the form. We've attached your plan, then Train Hard and Paddy. Obviously, you can customize this. You can make it whatever you want. You can use your brand voice. You can give further instructions, whatever it may be. Now, if we click onto the personalized training plan, this is what we receive. So at the top, it gives us a brief introduction of us. It shows us what the actual information was that we filled out. So we feel like we're understood. We know that our goal is fat loss. They know that we have access to a gym and all this kind of stuff. And then below, it has our actual training plan. So there's a little bit of an introduction here. And then it goes through each day what we're going to be doing. So full body strength, workout focus strength. And then it's got our squat, pull up, bent over rows, plank. And it's simply just going to go through each day, cardio blast, active recovery, lower body focus, hit intervals. So, you know, we can, it's tailored this to how many days that I can train, my fitness levels, and also my goals. And then at the end, you're right on track. Keep up the great work. Remember, stay hydrated, nourished, get plenty of rest for optimal results. If you have any questions or need modifications, feel free to reach out. Let's crush these next 14 days together. So, you know, it's a bit motivational. It feels personalized, but the actual stuff that it's giving me here is going to be specific to the goals and the parameters that I have provided up in this top section, which is ideal. So this is going to allow us to provide as much value as possible to each individual lead. And the beauty of providing more value than the average person is we're going to build up more trust. We're going to actually be able to generate the results that these people want, which is going to make them feel happy. Like I say, they trust us then, and then they're going to be more inclined to actually pay us money, or when it comes time for them to invest in their health and fitness, sign a new coach, get a new gym membership, then the plan that was personalized to them and worked best for them is going to be the obvious choice. So then we become that obvious choice, which is ideal. So that was the actual plan itself. Now I'm going to run you through this flow, how it works. And yeah, I'll just go into each module quickly, explain what it's doing. You'll be able to see the settings and then you can sort of mimic it yourself. So Tally is fairly simple. We've simply just connected Tally. Okay. When you want to connect your accounts, this is also very simple. A lot of the time it's simply just click Google to sign in. It will then ask you to verify. You put in your username and password. You've done that, then it's all connected. It's fairly simple. The only one that's a little bit harder is OpenAI. But again, at the end of the day, it is fairly simple. So simply, we have connected Tally here. Then it goes through to a Google Sheet. So on this Google Sheet, essentially what it's doing is it's taking all the answers that the form that Tally took, and it's putting them into a new row on a Google Sheet. So we will have a Google Sheet in the back end with all of the information that we have provided. So it is somewhere other than Tally. We have access to it. It's immediate. It's nice and simple. And it also just keeps things very organized. So there we're going to have things like name, fitness goal, gym access, training frequency, session length, fitness levels, and of course their email. So this module here is actually it's going to be create a new row. So that's the role of this module. It creates a new row in our Google Sheet. Add a row. You can see it there. That's all that does. Then we have search a row. So we've made the row. Now we need to identify that a new row has been made. And simply, all this does is it looks at this Google Sheet, and every time that a new row has been made, and it sees that there is a unique email. Now we've used email because obviously that is going to be individual to every single person. People might have the same name, the same fitness goal, so it might become confusing. So email is the filter that we use to ensure that we know a new person has come onto our sheet. Because what we don't want to do is someone might sign up 3, 4, 5 times. They get loads of different personalized plans. It becomes a bit convoluted, a bit confusing. But then also what people could end up doing is every 2 weeks request a new plan, and they just slowly increase the fitness levels, and they can just continue to work and get your value or your knowledge for free when really they should be paying for it. So this stops people from basically getting an unlimited amount of personalized plans. So that's what that does. Then we move through to this composer string. So basically all this does is it takes all the information that the Google Sheet has gathered and it just turns it into a nice presentable manner. Okay, so basically it will then say create a 2-week training program based on the following, and then it just formats everything that it needs, because then we can give this nice neat packaging to AI, and this is where the bulk of the work is. Okay, so this is where all of the customization is actually going to happen. So I'll run through now. The model you can change. I've used 3.5 turbo 10125. Of course, we can click fancier models. So 3.5 is not the most advanced model. The most advanced one right now is ChatGPT 4.1, okay, and these are always changing. 4.0 is also very good. So you're going to get the best results with these models, but they are going to cost more. So we have to use tokens that allow us to use AI within these systems. So you don't need to have a paid subscription to ChatGPT. This is slightly different when you use it in things like Make.com, N8N, Zapier. But essentially, we need to assign credits to our account. You can start off with $5. Each automation, depending on the model that you use, can cost anywhere from 1 to 5p. Also depends on the complexity of your flow. If this was a massive flow with loads of different ChatGPT modules, then of course it's going to become more and more expensive. So that's just something to think about. So of course we can use more advanced models than this, but that is going to come at a cost. So that's just something to think about. So then we have message one. So the role here is the developer or the system. And then the second role is the user. Now, the difference between the two is the system is the overarching context. So what kind of thing are we asking ChatGPT to become? So for example, within the system, we have told it that they are a professional fitness coach. When a user provides their fitness goals, all of the information, that it will need to then respond with a personalized 14-day training plan that is practical, motivational, and easy to follow. Only give training advice based on proven scientific methods. Okay, so that's basically the overarching goal of this system. And then underneath is the more specific user-based prompt that we give the specific instructions, we give the layout for, and all of that kind of stuff. So as you can see, the prompt here is actually quite long, okay, but it needs to be. The more in depth and the more detailed your prompts are, the better. So if you are looking for a really good prompt, then AI is actually great at giving good prompts to AI. Basically, what you need to do is go to AI and say, you are a expert prompt engineer with decades of experience, and I want you to create me a perfect prompt for this thing, in our case, a 14-day training program. And then it's given the text, which is this nice sort of neat version of all of the information we've got. It will then look at all of the information it's got, and then it will have an instructions on how to write the program. And here we have all sorts of bullet points on what we want it to do. Now, if you are a specific type of coach, so you only help people build muscle, or you only help people lose weight, or you have a specific way of helping people lose weight or build muscle that's perhaps not the conventional, should I say, way to do those things, then you need to give it all the information that you have about that method or that training style. Okay, like I say, the outcome is directly dictated by the level or the quality of the input. So if you have a good input, you'll get good outputs. If you have a bad input, you'll get bad outputs. So give this as much detail as you want. You can see this is quite detailed on my part, but you can go much deeper than this. You can give it almost like an essay for a prompt, okay? And then you're going to get exactly what you want. But don't blame AI for giving bad results, because what it really comes down to is the fact that the input is not good, okay? So take your time with this. This is the thing that dictates the quality of the output. How good and how valuable is your lead magnet will come down to how good and how valuable your prompt is. So take your time with this, because once you do it once, it's there forever. You don't have to worry about it again. Sure, you can come in and make small tweaks and changes, but just take your time with this, and it will pay dividends in the future. And then max completion tokens, this is just the standard. So that's the hardest part. Connecting AI, again, to connect it, you just go to my connections. Everything when it comes to Make.com or any of these sort of AI automation services is there's going to be a link under each thing. So if you need further assistance, you can simply click online help. It will take you to a web page that just with great detail shows you how you need to do things, how it works, what steps you need to take. So like I say, it's quite simple if you just follow along. So from here, we have ChatGPT has created our custom training plan. Okay, that's great. Then we need to be able to actually put it into something that we can send to the client. For us, we're going to use Google Docs. So simply, it creates a Google Doc for us. So the name of the Google Doc is a 14-day training plan for name, and this is going to be taken from the actual data that we have on the Google Sheet. This is then all the styling. So this H1 style, that means heading 1. Okay, and then this basically just tells you how we want it to look. And then it goes through and then it gives us a breakdown of the answers that we gave, which you saw at the top, which is very important. And then it goes through, and then here it's this section here is the actual result that ChatGPT gave us. So it goes through and gives us everything that ChatGPT created, which is in our case, the personalized training plan. And then you simply choose a place where you want everything to get saved so you can access it easily, keeps everything organized, and happy days. So that's created the Google Doc, but then we want to give it to the customer in a format that they can just simply click on. It's nice and easy, which is going to be a PDF. So for here, we simply take the document ID. So this is the node or the new document that has been made in the module previously. And then it takes that document and it identifies it through the document ID, and then it turns it into a PDF. Okay, and then from here we go through to Gmail. This is what we use. I'm pretty sure you can use Outlook and stuff like that, but Google Workspace is just so convenient and so easy when it comes to things like Google Sheets, Google Docs, Gmail. So convenient, so easy. So if you're not using Gmail, then you're really just missing out, I think. So Gmail for us, and then we simply, for the email address, of course, we take the email from the Google Sheet. We then have the subject as the 14-day training plan for name. And then the content, you saw that. This is the actual body of the email. This BR simply means like the line break. So it tells the software we want a line, or you press enter. So it formats it more professionally. It's easier to read. And yeah, you can change this about. You can customize this. And then simply we go onto the attachments, and then we have the Google Docs. And because it is connected to a Google Doc module that's created it into a PDF, it automatically understands, right, well, it probably wants me to send this thing that's just been created before me. So you simply click Google Docs, download a document, and it will automatically connect or attach the PDF that we've made, and then it sends it off. So yeah, that's it. And it's very, very simple. So the main things to consider here is obviously if you're new to make.com, you need to make sure that everything is integrated. So Tally is very easy to do. Google Sheets and Google Docs, if you use Google Workspace, just sign into Google. Again, very, very easy to do. Simply just press sign in with Google. You'll probably already be signed in anyway because you'll be using your Google account for this program. So you just put in your password and it's done. The only thing that might be slightly more complicated is the ChatGPT module. You'll need to put some tokens on your account. You'll need to create a secret key, API keys. I'm not the best at all the technical stuff, but there's so much, there's ample documentation that you can look at that's going to help you walk through this. So like I say, it's not actually that hard, provided you just follow the instructions, and there's clear instructions everywhere, or videos. There's so many videos online on how to do this as well. So yeah, so there's really no reason for you to not do this. But like I say, if you really just can't be bothered, then click out the link in the description and we can set this up for you. So that's how you can create custom lead magnets for each individual lead that comes through. Hopefully you can see why this is valuable. The whole goal of a lead magnet is to provide as much value as you possibly can so that you can build trust within the lead. And by doing this and customizing it specifically to each individual lead, we're going to be able to give them as much value as possible. Now, you can also take this in other directions. You could do nutrition plans. You could do a combination of training and nutrition. You can get really, really creative with this stuff. So here you have the framework. Now you can go and be creative and change it and tweak it to however you want it to perform for your fitness business. So if you enjoyed this and you want to understand more ways how you can grow your fitness business through effective marketing, then click on the video on the screen now.